We're not falling behind in time.
I know, sorry. Okay, see? You gotta keep me on track, Andrew.
Because we have a lot of products. Because I want to make sure during a visit, especially a visit like this, almost all of our products are at extra special pricing. So I like to make sure that not everyone's going to be searching them out on the web.
Yes.
So everything is during the visit at special pricing with free shipping. So I like to give them an opportunity to be seen so everyone is aware.
Good idea. Okay, so we're gonna, I know this is quick, but remember when we talk about energy on a foundational level, you know, whether it's your heart, your pancreas, your liver, your gum health, great pricing, which honestly is hard to ignore. Actually better pricing you've ever done, because this is not right up there with one of your #1 reorder products. Again, 30, 60, 120, and 240. In any case, honestly, the value speaks for itself.
And CoQ10 recently, again, this is an ingredient. I've been making vitamins for 40 years. This is an ingredient that we introduced back in 1984, so what is that, 35 years ago now. Coenzyme Q10, when I first introduced it, it was pretty much dismissed. The science was incredible, but I was the only one really talking about it. So it took a number of years, about 20 years, before it really got the attention it deserved. And nonetheless, I continued to talk about it on television until enough folks tried it, and that created, I think, the interest. Once you try this product, you never want to be without it. We talked a moment ago about acetyl L-carnitine, and carnitine's role in the transport of fat within our cells, so those fats can be beta oxidized, so they can be burnt, as we like to call it. Burning fat is the beta oxidation of fats. But within all of our cells, the ultimate experience that we have of energy in our cells, and it's kind of interesting. We have trillions of cells in our body. We experience energy. We exist because we have energy. And all of our cells are responsible for their own energy production. It's something that most folks don't realize. We live in a world of distributed energy, where we receive energy at this studio, for instance. We receive energy from a power plant somewhere nearby. That's in our homes. That's generally how it works as well. In our body, each cell, it might get oxygen from the bloodstream that we get through our lungs and our hemoglobin carries, but that oxygen is delivered to a cell that must do the work and basically oxidize some nutrient. Usually it's going to be carbohydrate, glucose, or beta oxidizing fats. And it's the oxidation of those nutrients and the transport of electrons as a result of the oxidation of that fuel that results in the energy we experience. CoQ10 is all about the transport of those electrons. And that's why CoQ10 is referred to as sort of the foundational nutrient in terms of energy production. And we look at how our body works, and we look at how CoQ10 works. What astounds me is that I'm the only company that makes a CoQ10 product that has always ensured that you get a full B complex with the coenzyme form of B12, because CoQ10 can't do its work without it. And that is why I think our CoQ10 is virtually perfectly reviewed, because it's the only perfectly, in my eyes, at least perfectly produced CoQ10.
Absolutely, 4.7 star customer pick average.
And I think there's at least a couple of thousand reviews.
Almost 4,000.
Almost 4,000 reviews, and this will be a product with probably 96, 97% 5-star positive reviews, yes, and about 85 to 90% 5-star reviews.
Absolutely. Just real quickly, and
great pricing.
Do you mind if I show this real quickly?
Sure.
Now, this was a 30 milligram though, right? So this is really not even necessarily a fair comparison. No,
but it's a fair comparison, because that was the potency at the time. So if you go back, if you're going back, say 13 years at a 30 milligram size, and also the cost of CoQ10, I've done my best to keep driving the cost of CoQ10 down. So what you're experiencing today, the prices were even higher before. What you're experiencing today is CoQ10 at a fraction of the price that it used to be. That CoQ10 used to be a horribly expensive product for 30 milligrams. Now it's a reasonable product, and it's not even 30 milligrams. Per capsule, it's less, and it's 6 times, almost 7 times the potency.
Absolutely, and of course, with everything that you love and know, and let's be honest, I think probably the biggest, malaise that we talk about when people go to a doctor, they say, I don't have any zip, I don't have any drive, I don't have any energy, right? One
of the most common complaints as we get older is fatigue. And there's a multitude of factors that can contribute to that, obviously. But I think one of the most obvious is an inadequate amount of the components that are necessary. It's like spark plugs missing from your car. The engine's not going to run or run well or run at all. So CoQ10 is absolutely essential for the transport of electrons. And as much as we like to think of ourselves as these wonderful living beings, it is this basic chemistry within our cells, that oxidative chemistry, that oxidative reductive chemistry that goes on within each of our cells. That's the energy we experience. And our energetic experience is sort of the collective experience of these trillions and trillions of cells. So I look at this as not being something that we should ignore. Of course, the product comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And like the circulation and vein support product, at midnight you'll find similar reviews to this that says they will never live a day without this product. And frankly, not because I make it. If I didn't make it, I would have sought it out from someone else, because if you understand the science of it, and even if you don't understand the science and just simply the experience of it, you would never want to go a day without it, nor would you want anyone you cared about to go a day without it.
Absolutely. So now's your time to grab it.
And just really quickly, if you're taking a statin drug, if you're taking antidepressants, if you're taking things like beta blockers, if you're taking any of those medications, bisphosphonates, drugs for osteoporosis or osteopenia, these are drugs that affect the synthesis of CoQ10 in our body. So what little we produce as we get older is compromised by the drugs we take, the way we live. So again, it underscores the need. In fact, if you're taking a statin drug, absolutely positively, you need to supplement. Again, it doesn't have to be mine. You need to supplement CoQ10.
Absolutely. Okay, I don't know if you heard our producer in my ear or not, but he's
I did not.
oh, okay, you got to toss me a chocolate.
Look how cute those pictures